Well, a couple weeks ago, I got to sit down for coffee with one of the members of our launch team just to kind of hear how things were going, to sort of check in with him about how he and his wife were doing and sort of what God had been teaching them recently. And he shared with me what I thought was an incredible testimony that's really captured in a lot of ways the heart of what we've seen God do in these last few weeks here at the Mission Cincinnati. He said that kind of growing up in church and through other experiences in church, that neither he nor his wife had ever really felt safe in a church community. And kind of as we intersected their lives a couple months ago, and as they felt called by God to join what we were doing, they showed up to our first Lenten Room worship gathering, and afterwards both of them wrote me separate emails where they both said, you know, we felt like tonight was beautiful. We're just unsure how to really behave because we've never felt safe in church before. We don't really know what to do, and it might take us a little while to fully feel like we're comfortable and able to give of ourselves relationally, which was kind of an interesting thing for me to hear, because from my perspective, they showed up alive and engaged and giving so much of themselves, but for them, they were still experiencing these places in their hearts that they were going to need to walk through over time to really surrender. Well, when I sat down for coffee that morning with my friend, what he said to me was, William, when my wife and I showed up a couple weeks ago to the first Lenten Room gathering, we felt like dried out sponges spiritually. We felt dry and like we had nothing to give. But really, over the past couple weeks, as we've experienced the rhythms of prayer and worship and communion and fellowship together with others at the Mission Cincinnati, we feel like God has poured into us to the point that we now feel full and ready to give back to others. He bore witness to what he saw God doing in other people's lives. He spoke to the way that God has matured our little community through rhythms of praying together every week for the city, for our world, and for each other. He spoke to another one of the folks who's come to our launch team, a young woman who, in many ways, is finding for the first time life and community through a church. And he said it's been amazing to watch her come to life as people have engaged her in conversation and relationship. And just hearing his perspective, both of the transforming work of Jesus in his own heart, as well as his ability to bear witness to the fact that, hey, this is happening here in other people's lives, was so encouraging to me as a pastor to say, yes, this is what we desired. This is what we prayed for. This is the type of thing in terms of people encountering Jesus that we hoped would mark our community at the Mission Cincinnati. So I wanted to share that with you guys, that it might be an encouragement to you that the things that you've been praying for, the things that you've been hoping that God would do in our midst are happening. And we believe that these are just the beginning. And so we would ask you to continue to pray for us that God would bring many people to such experiences of life and transformation and refreshment in Jesus in the same ways that he has for these early friends of ours that are beginning to experience God's transformation and healing and community.